right, it's that time of year again when everybody puts out their list of their top 10 countries.
You know, we should really do one of our own lists, JP.
I think we will next year. Next year we'll do our own list.
Okay.
All right, but this year we're going to use someone else's. It's from Wanderlust. It's their 23rd annual Readers Travel Awards list of the 10 most desirable countries. And the list starts with number 10, Peru.
Well, I was actually surprised that Peru made the top 10, but then I thought about it and I'm like, well, I'm not surprised because, hello, Machu Picchu. Peru has so much going on, besides Machu Picchu, of course.
Yeah, tons of natural and historic sites. They've got desert, mountains, ocean, forests. Peru has everything.
Yeah.
Something for everybody.
What's great about it too is that it has a really affordable cost of living. It has excellent produce. They're known for their vibrant market, and they have a really fascinating culture.
Yeah, everybody talks about how great the food scene is, especially in Lima and some of the other cities. So if you're a foodie, I think Peru has to be on your list.
But there are some drawbacks, starting with some of the cities are at very high elevation. So if you have altitude sickness, then you're going to have to look at some of the low elevation places. Or if your dream is to move to a mountain town, you probably want to cut Peru out of your list.
And if you do want to move to one of those big cities by the sea, then you're going to be dealing with traffic congestion and some air quality issues. So that's probably not ideal either. Plus, the public transport can be chaotic and the infrastructure can be inconsistent with power outages. And they've been experiencing some political turmoil in recent years, but that's pretty much like happening everywhere now. So you really can't escape that.
So are you moving to the sea or to the ocean?
I know. I just said it because it sounded good. The ocean.
I'm the one who always gets that wrong, so I had to point it out.
All right, their English proficiency is pretty low, so if you want to live there outside of maybe one of the bigger cities, you're going to need to learn Spanish. You say that everywhere in Latin America, you pretty much need to learn some Spanish.
Yes, you do. And you should anyway. There are some popular expat cities like Lima, Cusco, and Arequipa.
They're working on improving the quality of the healthcare, but it is lacking compared to some of the other countries on this list.
The nice thing is that Americans can visit on a tourist visa for up to 183 days. So you could go and explore so much of Peru and live there for 6 months without even having to deal with a residency visa.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's better than Ecuador. Ecuador's got the 90 plus. You can extend it for 90, but man, 183 off the bat. That's awesome.
It is.
And they have some residency visas as well, a retirement visa. You just have to have stable income. They have investment, work, family ties. So there's a few different ways that you can move to Peru and live there. And a lot of Americans especially do live there. All right, number 9 is South Korea. We never talk about South Korea, Amelia.
We don't very often, and I'm not surprised this is on the list because it's a fascinating country. I always think of South Korea as being the technology hub of the world, but there is a ton of history and culture there too.
And they have a vibrant food scene. They're famous for their Korean barbecue. They have safe cities, low crime rates, excellent public transportation, and they have a growing expat community, especially in Seoul.
One of the drawbacks, though, is the high cost of living, especially in areas like Seoul. And they do have some seasonal air quality issues with pollution and things like that. So if you are one of those allergy sufferers, make sure you do your research before you go to South Korea.
One of the major drawbacks for Americans is the time zone change and the distance. So if you want to travel, it's expensive and time consuming. If you want to talk to your family or do work back home, the time change is brutal. We know we're in the region right now and it's painful.
It is painful. English proficiency is okay. It's moderate there. You're going to find English speakers in the major cities, younger people, and of course in the popular tourist areas. But once you get outside of those areas, then you're going to find a lot less English speakers.
Some of the popular cities are Seoul, of course, as well as Busan and Daegu. The healthcare is one of the best in the world. In fact, a lot of people travel there for healthcare. They have the latest technologies and they're cheaper than a lot of the other Western countries.
As far as tourist visas go, Americans can stay for 90 days on their tourist visa, but unfortunately you cannot extend that.
It's not that easy to move to South Korea either, which is another reason why we don't talk about it often. They do have the K-pop visa, so if you want to be in the K-pop scene, you can move there with that, and they do have an E2 visa available if you want to go there and teach English.
All right, number 8 on the list is Brazil.
Every time we talk about Brazil, because it is on our list of places if you want to have a high quality of life for a low cost of living. And we always get comments from people who used to live there or from there saying, don't go there, it's too dangerous. And then the other half of the comments are like, we live in Brazil now and love it. I think it's the same in a lot of Latin American countries. If you know where to avoid, then you can stay safe most of the time. And if you go to the dangerous spots, then it's kind of on you. Sorry.
Well, I feel like that's basically how it is all around the world.
Yeah, we get the same thing with Ecuador. It's like, oh, it's too dangerous. We've lived there. We lived there for 6 years through a lot of the bad stuff that made international news, and we never felt unsafe.
No, we didn't.
So we also didn't go where the crime was. So
you got to use your common sense.
Yeah, Brazil has so much going for it. The iconic landmarks like the Christ the Redeemer statue and Iguazu Falls down in the south. They have a lively culture with samba, bossa nova, and the world famous Carnival.
And the people are so nice and friendly. They really have a strong sense of community there, which is fantastic. And of course, they have all of that natural beauty and those incredible beaches.
Yeah, the beaches there are just amazing. The drawbacks, though, are the high crime rates in some of the urban areas, and there's a lot of bureaucratic red tape if you want to get a residency visa.
Yeah, it can definitely be rather tricky. People do speak English in the major cities and the popular tourist areas. However, Portuguese is the official language there, and you should definitely learn Portuguese if you want to live in Brazil.
Some of the popular expat cities are Sao Paulo, Florianopolis, Curitiba, and Recife. They have a good public and private healthcare system, and they do take a proactive approach to healthcare, which is nice.
It is nice.
Coming from the U.S. where it's reactive.
So the visa situation is changing for people coming from the U.S. and I believe Canada as well. Starting April 10th, 2025, you actually have to apply online for an e-visa, and that visa is valid for 90 days. You are able to extend it for an additional 90 days once you're in the country, though.
They're limiting our stays there, darn it. As far as ease of moving, they do have a retirement, a digital nomad, and investor visas, but like we said, the residency visa process can be slow and cumbersome.
If you want more details about the visa requirements, you can download our free residency visa matrix and our visa options report.
They're included in our free Move Abroad Toolkit, which includes the top 30 countries report, our Move Abroad plan, a Move Abroad checklist, the visa options matrix and report, the cost of moving abroad budget worksheet, and the cost of living abroad budget worksheet.
But that's actually a lot when you say it all out loud.
It is. There's a lot in this, and it's totally free. You just scan this QR code right here or go to ameliajp.com/toolkit so you can download it right now.
Okay, what's our next country?
The next country is South Africa. We don't often talk about African countries, and then we always get a hard time for that in our comments for leaving Africa off. We are going to be talking about more African countries coming up, though.
Yes, we are. I'm really excited about it. And it's neat to talk about South Africa because, boy, you think about the safaris, right, and all the incredible wildlife, but there's a lot more to it, although they are known for their natural beauty.
Yeah. You can go see great white sharks, too. You know that, right?
I did not know that.
They do Shark Week a lot in South Africa.
Oh, I did not know that.
The stunning natural beauty in South Africa with Table Mountain and the Cape Winelands. It's got an affordable cost of living, but you can also have luxury experiences. It's got rich cultural diversity and 11 official languages.
Yeah, that's incredible.
That is amazing. Although English is the primary language, so it's easy to communicate for us Americans there.
Of course, there are drawbacks like there are everywhere in the world. They do have high crime rates in certain areas. They do have issues with power outages, and there is definitely an inequality and poverty issue in the urban areas.
English proficiency is high, not an issue there. The popular expat cities are Cape Town, Johannesburg, and Durban, among others. There's others, obviously. They have a public and a private healthcare system. Americans can visit visa-free for up to 90 days, and you can extend one time for an additional 90, so a total of 180 days per year.
And they do have a retirement visa, so you can definitely go and retire in South Africa.
All right, number 6 is Costa Rica. We talk about this so much, I'm not exactly sure what we're going to say that could be possibly new about it. If you haven't been, go check it out.
Mic drop.
I'm sorry, who is Mic Drop?
Yeah, they do. It has lush rainforests, mountains, beaches, a lot of ecotourism adventures. It's a politically stable country with no standing army. I don't think we've ever said that before. They don't have an army.
Yeah, that is interesting.
They ditch their army and actually spend it on improving their country, which is kind of a neat concept.
They have a strong focus on sustainability and conservation, and they are known to have really friendly locals as well.
You know, their Pura Vida lifestyle,
Yes.
their pure life.
Yes, all about being laid back.
Some of the drawbacks are the higher cost of living, especially compared to some of the other neighboring countries in Latin America. Heavy rainfall during the wet season. They have a hurricane risk, and they do have some infrastructure issues.
You'll find English speakers in a lot of the popular areas with expats and, of course, the tourist areas. But once you want to go out into the rural areas and explore more, you, of course, need to learn Spanish.
They do have a solid healthcare system. It's affordable and reliable, both a public and a private system like most countries have. And it ranks among the best in Latin America.
Americans can now visit Costa Rica for up to 180 days. So you can stay there for up to 6 months, which is fantastic.
They have retirement and digital nomad residency visas if you want to live there, and they have investment and work visas as well.
Number 5, another country we don't talk about very often, is New Zealand.
Yeah, and the main reason is because you can't move there really as an American. Well, you can. We'll explain who can move there in a second. But I mean, New Zealand, it's got the stunning natural beauty, the fjords, the beaches, the mountains, the Lord of the Rings tour. You can go stay in a hobbit house. I want to do that. We're doing that, Amelia.
Is that still a thing? Because I feel like those movies are kind of outdated now.
You take that. They are timeless. It's like that books.
That's true.
New
I do love
Zealand
the
is
books.
safe and family friendly unless you're Sauron or somebody like that, or an orc.
If you're
an
an
orc,
orc,
watch out.
I think we might have made a mistake leaving the Shire, Pippin.
Oh gosh,
Yeah,
okay.
high quality public services at healthcare and education are great.
I feel like the biggest drawback, at least for us, is that it is so far. It is a commitment to go to New Zealand. So if you're going, you definitely want to stay in that part of the world as long as you can. And you're definitely going to have to deal with the time change, especially if you're working or you need to get back home to deal with any sort of family issues. It's going to be a challenge.
Yeah, and the cost of living is pretty high, especially in Auckland. And there's a major earthquake risk. They're on the ring of fire and they get hit pretty regularly. They just had a really bad one a few years ago.
Oh, yeah, I do remember that. Of course, English is spoken there, so if you're an English speaker, you're not going to have any issues.
Auckland, Wellington, Christchurch are all popular areas, but there's a ton of popular spots in New Zealand. The healthcare is excellent. They have a public and a private system. However, the wait time can be long for the public system.
Imagine that.
Americans can visit visa-free for up to 90 days, which really kind of stinks. I wish it was at least 180 days. We had to go so far to get there. Let us stay for 6 months, New Zealand.
But 90 days is that's still 3 months. I'll take it.
Yeah, UK, if you're from the UK, you can stay for 180 days.
Are you jealous?
I am a little bit. Yeah.
All right, so it's not very easy to move to New Zealand. They do have a working holiday visa, but you have to be between 18 and 30 to qualify for that. So I'm pretty sure nobody watching this video will qualify for that visa.
Yeah, if you're one of the 3 people in our audience in that age group, then check it out. Otherwise, you have to be rich to move there because the investor visa is
$1 million.
Don't you think we should maybe ask for more than $1 million?
$15 million.
Yeah, that's a little too steep for us.
Yeah,
just a tiny bit.
Very few people that are going to be willing to invest $15 million in New Zealand just to get a residency visa. And not even a passport, just a visa.
Oh, that's right. You're right.
Yeah. So
Yeah, you have better options for sure.
yeah, number 4 is not one of those better options. Number 4 on this list is the United States. We never talk about the U.S., at least as a place to move to, because most of you want to leave the U.S. However, it did make this list because they pulled travelers from all over the world. And the U.S. is a beautiful country. We love it. We're so thankful to be from the United States, and it's provided us with the opportunity to do this full-time travel.
Absolutely.
So we're thankful to be from there.
Well, and it is an incredibly diverse country. I mean, the United States is massive. So when you think about all of the variety of things that you can experience on a trip to the U.S., I mean, you just can't go wrong.
Yeah, we lived in Colorado, one of the most beautiful places on the planet. But I've been to at least 37 states. I kind of lost count. I think I've been to more now. But every state has something different to offer, and they're all beautiful, and it's an amazing country. It's sad there's so many things that are wrong with it right now, which is frustrating. One of the reasons why we left, and one of those is the health care. The costs are ridiculous. They have like the highest cost for healthcare of any any country in the world. It's got the most expensive healthcare system, but the worst outcomes pretty much for all developed countries. So there are some developing countries that have better health outcomes than the U.S. That's really frustrating.
It is frustrating for us. And if you're a tourist and you want to come, you need to make sure you have good travel insurance because it can be expensive if you need to go and get emergency care in the United States. So
yeah, you can
be
leave
prepared.
Your trip bankrupt. So please get yourself covered if you're not from the U.S. and you're going to visit there. You know, there's a lot of political turmoil right now as well. It's expensive in the places where you want to go. If you want to go to like rural Kansas, it's pretty cheap, although even that's getting more expensive now. But the cost of living is really high, which is why a lot of you are probably looking at leaving.
You can visit. There's a lot of countries that are able to get a 90-day tourist visa. Moving to the U.S. is not as easy. It's easier if you have family members that are already there or if you're a skilled worker, but you're definitely going to deal with a lot of bureaucracy like you do in almost every other country.
Yeah, I think that's enough, but from the U.S.
Yeah,
you're probably already living there if you're watching this video.
Agreed.
So, and if you are watching this and you're thinking about leaving the United States, be sure to hit the subscribe button and give this video a like as well so that YouTube will show you more of our videos when we post them, because we talk about how to leave the United States primarily and either move abroad or slow travel.
Okay, what's the next country? Oh, number 3, Japan.
Yeah, this is another one that comes up a lot in our comments section. A lot of people want to move to Japan, and it's easy to understand why. It's an amazing country. They have so much going for it with the ancient traditions, futuristic technology. It's like Blade Runner there. They have excellent public transportation, clean cities. They have the seasonal events like the Cherry Blossom Festival. That would be so cool to see. And they have snow festivals too.
Yeah, when I think of Japan, I don't think of winter, which is silly because they have a lot of winter going on there.
Especially in the north.
There are some drawbacks like the high cost of living, especially in the bigger cities. They also have limited space available, and they do have some strict immigration policies. So it's not an easy place to move to.
Yeah, they pretty much deport you if you try to overstay your welcome. So keep that in mind. English proficiency is pretty low around the country, but it's higher in the urban areas. And so you're probably going to need to learn some Japanese if you want to live there. Some of the popular expat cities are Tokyo, Osaka, Kyoto, and Nagoya. So our friends William and Linda told us Nagoya is one of their most favorite places in the world, and they've been all over the world. So I think that says a lot.
They have an excellent public health care system. You cannot go wrong with public health care in Japan. What's great about that is if you're a tourist and you're staying for longer than 3 months, so if you're working towards some sort of residency or an extended stay, you can use the public healthcare system, but if you're going to be there for less, you need to make sure you have travel insurance.
Americans can stay visa-free for up to 90 days. That's nice. Again, though, I wish it was 6 months like some of the other countries, but you get what you...
90 days is better than nothing.
Have to do. You can always bounce around with some of the other countries.
Yes.
They have some visas. It's not easy to move there. That's why we don't talk about it often. They have a work visa for skilled workers. Or if you want to go there to teach English, they have a visa program for that. And if you want to go there and start a business, they have a visa for that as well. And that could be to start a guest house or something like that. I read an article recently about a couple who moved to Japan and opened up a guest house, and they used that to qualify for their business visa.
That's a really fun idea. That's exciting.
Yeah, a little B&B. That'd be cool.
It would.
All right, number 2, again, we don't talk about Canada because a lot of you are wanting to leave Canada.
I really, really like Canada. I have not visited the eastern side, but I've been to a lot of places in Western Canada. It is absolutely beautiful. And Canadians, I find you to be very lovely people.
Truly ode to America's Garfield. Mm-hmm.
Vancouver, one of my most favorite places in the world. And if it was affordable, we would consider living there.
Such a cool city.
I love that city. Canada has so much going for it. It's about the same size as the U.S., but only 15% of the population. So you can walk for days and never see another human being.
So if you want to be an isolationist, that's your place.
Yeah, just dress warm.
Well, they actually have really nice summers.
Yeah, they do.
It's such a beautiful country. The natural beauty there is stunning.
Some of the drawbacks are the harsh winters, and especially, well, in most regions. Housing costs are pretty high, especially in in Vancouver and Toronto and some of the other areas.
There's lots of English speakers since that is one of the official languages, but they do also speak French there.
Canadians, let us know in the comments what you think about your healthcare system. We get mixed reviews on that as well. Some people complain about it taking forever. Others talk about how they're thankful they had it because they had a catastrophic illness and don't owe any money for it. Americans can travel to Canada visa-free for 180 days, so the closest neighbor we can go stay for 6 months, but the other ones are 90 days. The farthest ones are 90 days. I have a problem with that. I'm a little bitter. New Zealand.
New Zealand, we're talking about you. It's not as easy to move to Canada as some Americans think. They're not like moving to another state. So you just can't say, okay, well, I'm just going to move to Canada and just show up. They will not let you do that. So you do have to apply for a visa.
Yeah, they don't have a lot of visa options.
They don't. They don't have a retirement visa or a digital nomad visa, but they do have skilled worker visas, and they do have other programs. So if you want to go to school, to university there, and then work there. I met a lot of people during my career that had done just that.
Number 1 on the list is Australia. I guess I'm kind of surprised to see that.
I don't know if I'm surprised by that. Australia is an extremely diverse country. I think it's everybody's dream to go to Australia because it's still kind of exotic.
Mm-hmm. Seems like it's like the ends of the earth to me.
Yeah.
So it's got tons of things going for it. Amazing beaches, wildlife. You can go see kangaroos and koalas. They have high quality healthcare system and an education system, laid back lifestyle, tons of outdoor activities. If you want to go to the outback and camp for days, that's where you're going to do it.
Yeah, and of course it's a fully developed country. So you've got these exciting, vibrant cities as well.
Some of the drawbacks are the high cost of living, and we know we have a lot of Australian viewers who are also looking at leaving for the same reason that people from the US and Canada are looking to leave. Americans are going there and they're going to America. It's kind of weird, but I guess if you're not from there, the grass does seem greener.
Absolutely.
So,
well, it's a new experience.
Yeah, they do have some seasonal brush fires and extreme weather. They can get really hot in the summer, especially in the northern part.
A big drawback for me is, again, how far it is from the United States. So if you are working and you need to schedule meetings, that could be pretty tricky. And obviously, if you want to get back home, if you have an emergency, that could be quite the challenge. And it could be pretty expensive.
So English is the primary language, so you're not going to have any problem communicating. Some of the popular cities are Sydney, Melbourne, Brisbane, Adelaide, Perth. I always wanted to go to Perth because it just seems like it's at the end of the earth to me. Same with Adelaide. I mean, they're so far out there.
And they do have good health care. I know maybe some Australians won't agree, although we hear from a lot of people that you're really happy with your healthcare system. Mm-hmm. It is ranked as an excellent system. Australia has a really inviting tourist visa. For Americans, we can go for 90 days, but you can leave the country for a couple of days and go back for an additional 90 days, and you can keep doing this for up to a year. It is completely legal. It is on their government website.
Yeah, we'll put a link to that.
Yeah,
so
that's
in case
cool.
you don't believe us. And if it's wrong, please let your government know. And we also, another reason we don't talk about Australia much is because it's not easy to move there, especially if you're older like we are or retired. They have a work visa, so if you're young with a valuable skill set, you can probably go get their visa for that. They do have investment and retirement visas, but they're really expensive, cost prohibitive for most people.
As a reminder, this is not our list. We will put a link to the original source, which is Wanderlust, so you can read their methodology.
Were you surprised by any of the top 10 countries that are on it? Just let us know in the comments below.
And please remember to download that free Move Abroad Toolkit and check out this video next if you're thinking about moving abroad or slow traveling.
That's all we have for this video. Thank you so much for watching. And before you go, hit the subscribe button and leave us a like. And we will see you all next time. Ciao.
Ciao.